Hello and welcome to today's special webinar. We thank you for joining us. My name is Matthew Carr. I'm the Special Projects Lead here at Retina UK. And today we have a very, very special session lined up for you. As many of you know, the world of technology is constantly evolving, and at the forefront of these innovations are new tools and devices that have the potential to transform the lives of people with visual impairments. So I'm excited to have with me today Mark Baxter, our Information Support Coordinator. Whilst Mark was on holiday recently, he had the opportunity to attend a show called CES 2025 in Las Vegas, where he was able to explore the latest innovations in assistive technologies and accessibility devices designed for people with inherited retinal conditions and other sight loss. So this webinar is being recorded, so we'll be uploading this to the Retina UK website, onto YouTube and our Spotify channels. And if you sign up for the live webinar, the link will be emailed to you afterwards. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end of the webinar, and we'll be collecting them as we go along. So please feel free to submit your questions in the Q&A section, which can be found at the bottom of your screen if you're on a computer, or if you're on a tablet, phone, smart device, you can find this under reactions. So my colleague Lauren is sat in the background and will be moderating those questions, and she'll ask them on your behalf at the end of the webinar. We will endeavour to answer as many questions as we possibly can. If we do run out of time, we will follow up via email. So thank you again for joining us. And Mark, good evening. How are you?
Hello, thanks very much for having us, Matt. Yeah, it's great to be here, and it's great to share my experience of the Consumer Electronics Show 2025 in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was something as a child and teenager, always loves technology. It was something I've always wanted to go to. I regularly check out YouTube after each event just to see what the latest technology is, but to be able to be there in person to try out some of the latest startup innovations in assistive technology was absolutely brilliant, and to learn what is going on all the way around the world, you know, not just in the UK and Europe, but all over the place. It was fantastic to be there.
I'm so jealous. It is when you first told me that you're going to Vegas. I was green with envy, Mark. I have to say, it's one of my favourite places. I've only been once. The pandemic kind of put shot for my second trip round, but we'll get back there again. So yeah, extremely jealous. So tell me, so CES, what did that stand for?
So the Consumer Electronics Show is something that's organised by the Consumer Technology Association. And it was first founded back in June 1967, and it was a spin-off of the Chicago Music Show, which back then was the only place where you could get to show off new technology. Since then, it was in New York, and then in 1971, it moved to Chicago. And then in 1977, it then moved to Las Vegas. So the first one in June 1967 brought in 17,500 people
Wow.
and 100 exhibitors. So just to put into perspective how big this worldwide technology show is, this one just come back from was 4,500 exhibitors and 141 attendees over 4 days.
How many attendees, sorry?
And 141,000 attendees.
Wow.
And that spans over the Las Vegas Convention Center, which is split into 4 huge halls.
Yeah.
The Venetian Convention Center and 2 other smaller venues as well that are based in 2 hotels. So it is split all the way across the strip. It is so big.
Wow. I mean, Vegas is nuts at the best of times without things going on. I mean, it must have been crazy. I mean, how did you cope with that number of people?
I think because of the large scale of it, and nothing is small in Las Vegas or even America, everything is big. And the size of these halls, and just again, to put it into perspective, in just the Venetian Convention Centre, where a lot of the smaller startups and the accessibility equipment was, we racked up, I reckon, about 6 miles worth of steps, and that was just across 2 floors. So it kind of gives you an idea of exactly how big, and it's so spaced apart as well. I felt quite comfortable in terms of sweeping my cane and seeing all the exhibitors and what is going on and having a chat and everything like that. So I think because it was so big, I didn't feel like I was stepping on toes or I was hitting people or anything like that. It felt quite nice.
Oh, that's really cool. That's cool. So, was it just one day?
No, so the exhibition lasted and the whole thing lasted from the 7th of January and finished on the 10th. So it was
Okay.
4 days, and believe me, you need 4 days to be able to see everything. So a lot for 3 days we did the Venetian and bottom floors, and then we jumped in an Uber, and for the Friday we checked out the Las Vegas Convention Center as well.
Okay. So, was a Venetian where the accessible tech stuff was? Is that all clubbed together, or were they spaced out?
So they were downstairs, and they were kind of all quite close together, and it was not far from the startup stage where there was competitions and other webinars and seminars going on around talking about all sorts of assistive technology, wearables, etc. And
Mm,
then the um, Las Vegas Convention Center was where the more established, big, well-known companies like your LG, your Samsung,
yeah,
etc. Yeah.
that's amazing. I can't imagine the scale of that kind of thing spread across that. I mean, as I say, I've been to Vegas as well, and I remember doing. I wasn't looking forward to it the first time I went, thinking there'd be loads of people there, and there's kind of lots of walking, and I don't really do that kind of thing. I can help it, but as you say, everything is big. I don't think you can even try to explain to people the scale of Vegas. The fact it's this like a little pop-up circus in the middle of a desert. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, for it to be spread out over that 141,000 people over those days, that's crazy. So apart from your kind of love of tech, and we talk about that a little bit more in a bit. Why did you go?
Uh, I it was just a good opportunity to experience America. Again, I've never been to Las Vegas before, and it's something that Caroline have always wanted to do. CES is in January. The weather is cold of an evening, but it was lovely during the day. So to get away from January weather in the UK, it was always a win-win.
Brilliant.
And it was because it wasn't particularly busy. It's not their kind of touristy time. Again, found it quite comfortable. Obviously getting food. It wasn't, people. You weren't slaloming around people when walking down the street. It felt quite comfortable. So we got to see a lot of the touristy side of Las Vegas, as well as what we were there to experience, this new technology, and to get hands on with it, which is just amazing, to see how hard these startup companies and established companies are doing, and how they're making lives easier for those living with sight loss.
So come on, tell us about some of the new exciting things you've seen, and when can we expect to see them?
So there's I'll start with the first two that many of our webinar guests are familiar with. So the first one is WeWalk, which is out at the end of this month. It was supposed to come out at the end of October, but they put the release date back to January. And this device you can actually pre-order through Sight and Sound. And it is a cane that is manufactured by Ambutech, which is, I believe, a Canadian company, and the device actually can screw onto that cane and can actually be unscrewed and screwed onto a larger cane, because they only produce 3 different sizes. So if you're quite full and you have a larger cane, that you can unscrew the device and screw it back on. So everything's kept in the handle. It's a nice grip. It uses GPS navigation. You can pair it with your phone, and it's got object detection. So it will alert you when you actually come to an obstacle, so you can actually walk around it. That one, it was a nice little device. Again, quite discreet. It looks exactly like the handle on a white cane, and I believe that we have had a talk previously. I think it was last August, where we were talking about the WeWalk 2 cane and when it was being released. So that one should be on our website. So then we have the other one, which will be out within the next 12 months, which is called Glide, and it's by a company called Glidance. And this is a funny little contraption. It's got 2 wheels, and you walk it in front of you, and it will stop when you hit an obstacle. It will back up, and then it will give you, obviously, you'll be able to walk around the obstacle. Again, it's got GPS navigation on it, so you can use it with maps, and that's quite a nice little device. It weighs about 7 pounds. So you can walk that one, and apparently that one is one that you can use without a white cane or a guide dog. It's a device which will actually guide you, because it's got ground contact, so it will look out for objects where your guide dog or your white cane will do the same. That was a nice. I actually got to use that one, and we do have a little bit of video of that one, which we can share perhaps in the follow-up email. That's okay.
Follow my voice. Now, in terms of weight, does it feel light? Does it feel natural? What I want you to do, if you're okay with it, speed up a bit.
I feel quite confident that it is actually going to drive me.
Yeah. Somebody, I walked in front of you.
No, that's good.
Back up and on. Now, what's cool is you're in control. You set the pace. That idea of like, if you stop walking, it stops moving. You're setting pace, you're setting speed. And really importantly, if you feel like, no, I don't really want to go there, all you gotta do is quickly turn it that way and that. Now again, what's cool is it doesn't want you to go this way though, because your wife's keep on walking.
The next one was a device called Dot Lumin, and this one sat on your head, kind of similar to like a bicycle helmet, and it had a strap that went over the top, and it had sensors at the cameras at the sides, and then what it used was haptic vibration forehead, because apparently talking to the makers of the device, they say the forehead is a very, very sensitive area. So when you're walking in a direction, say for example the is between your eyes and you're walking in a northern direction, if you change direction, then the vibration will actually move around above your eyebrow, and then it will move around towards your temple to give you the direction of that's the direction you need to walk in, and then it will level up and it'll actually then be between your eyes again. This was very peculiar, because for me, it's a weird sensation, to have on your forehead to try and out where you were going based on a vibration only, especially on your forehead as well. But again, it was just a bizarre angle for someone to go, do you know what, we're going to use haptics, which we all use in mobile phones today, but on your forehead, you know. And I thought that's just a very, very new approach. Again, I got a little bit of video of me using that one. So what was the others we saw? So another one which I was really intrigued by, and they actually offered me a field demonstration outside of this device, and it's by a company called Make Sense Technology, which are based in London, and they're a startup, and they're making something that's called Vector. And this one is a handheld device which you use in conjunction with a guide dog or a white cane, and it uses not only haptic feedback, again, to point you in the direction that you're traveling, but this one, when you hold it, and it kind of feels similar to a TV remote, the way that you would hold a TV remote, or a Star Trek phaser, which is the other way that I would describe it. And so you hold it, and your thumb is sitting on a paddle, and then when you actually walk in the direction you're traveling, and it uses GPS in the device, and then it uses the LiDAR sensors and the cameras on, I believe they used an iPhone, which is mounted in a harness in a cradle on your chest. When you walk round the corner, it will actually move your thumb in the direction that it wants you to go in. And then when you move to the right direction, then your thumb will level up and it will start pulsating to let you know that you're in the right direction. And this one, the guys, really, really nice guys, they actually let me have a go at this one. And we walked, I think it was from one hotel to another hotel. And all I had was my white cane, and this was after dark, in an area where I've never been to before. And they said, we've plotted this course, and it uses a predetermined plotted, someone would plot before you use it. So if you went out, I don't know, somewhere that you've never been before, then you'll plot that route, and then the visually impaired person will be able to then map that route and do it all on their own. So they went out and plotted a course, and then they let me try it out after. And they actually had me crossing the 8 lanes of the strip. And when we say things are wide, that is how wide the strip is. 4 lanes of traffic on each side. So it's like crossing the M25. Their crosswalks are determined by traffic. So they did actually say to me, right, we're crossing the road now, and we've got 30 seconds to get across. No one actually guided me. I was still using the device, but they just told me that we've got to get across the road. And I walked all the way, and this thing just guided me with perfect accuracy to my end point. And that was really good to get really hands-on with that one. And I believe that they said that one should be available within the next 12 months. I think Glide, again, is also going to be out within the next 12 months as well. So there's lots of really good technology to look forward to.
That's cool. And we said that last one sounds really intriguing. I mean, and the fact that you went between 2 hotels unaided by other people. Also, I know that you rely quite heavily on Caroline, and with Vegas, from one hotel to another, doesn't sound too much, but that's a good distance between the hotels. That is epic. And as you say, crossing the equivalent of the M25 in 30 seconds is that's mega. That sounds really, really cool.
And I felt the one thing about this particular device, and I've tried other purely haptic feedback, other devices that I've got hands on with, not necessarily at CES, but other ones I've tried out. Like there's one called the Navi Belt, which is skin to device contact, which kind of goes under your top and it kind of sits around your waist, and again that 360-degree sort of feedback again that goes all the way around your waist like a clock face. Again, if you're pointing north, then that's where the hat is, and then if you turn south, then it will kind of be at your lower spine, and then as you move around, you kind of feel this haptics moving all the way around your body. Again, I kind of felt a little bit disorientated at times. But this device, because it actually has not only haptics to tell you where you are and you're going in the right direction, it moves your thumb in the direction that it wants to be traveling. So you kind of get that extra confidence to use it. And I did feel really confident using this device. Other devices can kind of lead you astray or leave you a little bit disorientated. This one was actually really good. And I think the distance was about 3/4 of a mile, I think it was, from start to finish.
Yeah, wow, that's something else. So, I mean, was there anything kind of? I mean, that sounds. It's not mainstream tech. Obviously, it's something different to what we're kind of seeing at the moment in terms of, the smart canes and things which are on the market at the moment. Was there anything kind of really wacky out there? Like, I don't know, robot guide dogs and things. Was there anything kind of really tomorrow's world type that you saw over there, whether it's for us or whether that's for others?
Yeah, so there was a few really cool inventions out there. We did see a lot of I think a lot of the robots, bartenders and other kind of robot assistants were all at the main one. I think unfortunately I missed a couple of them, and I think Sony had a car there that was not there when we actually went. So there's lots of things in around autonomous technology, autonomous software, driverless vehicles, AI. Everything was so heavily driven by AI. There was eyewear as well, in terms of wearable goggles, whether this was specifically for the visually impaired or whether they could be adapted to support people with visual impairments, for example, like the Ray-Ban Metas.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, but did you get the chance to play with those whilst you were there, the Ray-Ban Metas, or?
No, I didn't see anybody that actually had them, although I did speak to a chap that I bumped into that was from Meta that we had a bit of a chat about, about the glasses. I did come across a YouTube review about the Meta glasses and what they can do, and now how they're not only driven by Meta themselves, but they're also driven by Be My AI to make them more intuitive. So if you are wearing them, then you can get more accurate descriptions of where you are, what you are looking at. The fact that they're relatively reasonably priced compared to other startup technology that may be out at the moment, where you're looking at 4 figures to get this type of technology. But they are something to look into. There is a chap on YouTube that's got a show called The Blind Life, and he's got a 22-minute review of those Meta glasses. If anyone is interested in those glasses, at YouTube, and also check out CES 2025 on YouTube as well, because there is some really clever stuff that we actually got to look at. There's a smart barbecue called Brisket, where if you are a bit of a chef and you love the barbecue, this will help you cook meat to perfection. And it'll even alert you when the meat's cooked how you want it by your smartphone. And so smart barbecue is something for anyone that loves to cook. Again, cooking, there is a smart microwave that doesn't actually have a window in it anymore. It's just got a 20, I think it's like a 20-inch tablet, so you can actually see your meat cooking, and it will tell you, you know, all by touch screen and voice, you know, what's cooking, how it's cooking, how long it's got left, and everything like that. So there's lots of smart technology for the home. We did actually
That sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah. So,
And that smart barbecue, that could be quite interesting. I mean, I could burn a pot noodle, to be perfectly honest. That might be for me, that one.
yeah.
So you obviously do some. You obviously work for Retina UK. You've got sight loss yourself. What's your level of vision, if you don't mind me asking that?
So no, not at all. I am severely sight impaired, so I have a little bit of healthy retina in my left eye. So I've got a little bit of useful central vision to sort of see technology to some extent. I've got no vision, unfortunately, in my right eye. It's all light perception.
Mhm.
But then when I'm out in the daytime, you know, I don't have much field of vision or central vision to see and go bright, and then obviously the same in the dark as well. So, you know, I am fully, you know, sight impaired.
Okay, so tech obviously plays a huge part in everything you do during the day, to the same extent that you run one of our peer support groups around tech, don't you? How does that work? What's that all about?
So our Talking Tech Peer Support group was a group that I set up a year before last. I think it is year before last, as a part of our talking series, which is the first one of our talking series, just to provide information about upcoming new technology, as I have a massive interest in it. And it's not only for me to share with community new technology, but it's also for our community to share their experiences with new technology, allow people to ask questions. How do I do this? What is the best fit app for this? And it just allows community to get together and share information, you know, and ask questions to each other. So it's a group for community, led by our community, and I just facilitate it, you know, and we do record those meetings on our YouTube channel as well. So
Oh,
if
cool.
anybody's not familiar with Talking Tech, just go onto YouTube and just type in Retina UK Talking Tech group, and there's quite a few episodes on there now.
Sure. Well, maybe we'll share some details with that in the follow up as well. But going back to Vegas, um, you said about the autonomous cars and things. Do you think that's going to be? Do you think it's ever going to happen for us over here?
Personally, for me, I know a lot of people are quite skeptic around driverless technology. But for me, I kind of welcome that technology. Obviously, there's lots of moral implications, but I do believe there has been an autonomous vehicle act legislation that has been written and signed off, and I believe in that legislation they talk about driverless technology being implemented in certain parts of the UK from around 2026, which is not that long away. I do
No.
know that parts of Scotland are trialing driverless buses on the more rural routes that are just doing a loop of a circuit. But obviously, when we are talking about someone getting in a car and saying, "Take me to Sainsbury's," you know, I don't feel that it's not far away. And, you know, I would love to hear people's thoughts and feedback about what they feel about driverless technology and whether they would be safe in a car that drives itself.
Yeah, I suppose we. Is it the same as us chaps? Relying on other people driving us around. It's the same kind of thing, surely.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. As a passenger, you know, you are Caroline is an extremely confident driver, and she is my support worker as well as my partner. and I feel completely safe when she's behind the wheel. She gets me from A to B, and as a passenger, I feel that the sensation wouldn't be much different because you are relying on something else or someone else's judgment to be able to navigate the roads. And they do actually say that because it's controlled by a computer, that they are hoping that driverless technology will reduce things like fatigue in drivers, and also, inexperienced drivers, to lower the amount of accidents that we have in the UK and around the world.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I hope it will come. That additional level of independence for us with visual impairments. So yeah, that would be really cool. So without kind of giving away your best inventions, because I know you've got a good few up your sleeve. If you were to write an episode of Tomorrow's World for the visually impaired, for like 30, 40 years down the line, what would be on it?
I definitely believe that, and I would love to host something around autonomous vehicles. And you mentioned about wacky technology, and there was this one invention that we saw, and it was pretty remarkable. And Caroline actually had to describe it to me. It was a life-size drone that people could get in, and this thing actually folded up and then went into the back of it was a truck, where it recharges. And then if you wanted to use it, then it literally just come out and it unfolded and it just looked like a giant drone. So this could, be something to look forward to in terms of travel for anybody, the visually impaired. It could be the new air Uber, where you just call an Uber and it just lands in your front garden or in your car park, and then it just takes you up, and then it actually just whisks you to where you need to go. I can't think of any other reason why someone would invest in making that technology unless it was to ferry people around from A to B. So, you know, one day we may not get stuck in traffic. We may be able to rise above traffic and just literally fly to a destination by the way the crow flies. So, yeah,
But there's a risk to that, though. Is it turns out it's actually quicker to drive somewhere than it is to fly somewhere because the skies are too crowded and there's nothing on the roads.
Well, this is it, but I'm kind of thinking people live in very, very rural areas where public transport may not be the best, or you may not be able to rely on friends, family, and neighbours to kind of get you in more populated areas. I'm thinking kind of peer support group meetings if you are kind of out in the sticks somewhere, but you do want to engage with other peers. This could be a device, or a new mode of transportation that can actually get you. I know in Australia, for example, that those that own the big cattle fields, that are 2,500 miles square, they actually get from their house to the front of their driveway by helicopter. So
Wow.
it's not unheard of, air travel to get you from A to B. So, it's nice to think about, in the next 5 to 10 years, what technology has to play just by looking at technology that I've seen this year. So very exciting.
Yeah. I mean, the way that AI has come on just in the last few years, kind of the mainstream, Be My Eyes and some of the apps and things that are available now, for free, that use AI. The Allcam, for example, is something a little bit more mainstream. It's absolutely phenomenal how that's come on in just a short space of time. Yeah. So.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, carry on.
No, I was just going to say AI is being driven by everything at the moment. I sat and watched Galaxy Unboxed 2025 last night, as they were launching the new Samsung range of products, smartphones, and so much is being driven by AI. They're making them more easy for people that have got hearing issues, dexterity problem, and also other sensory like sight loss. Just for example, Google have launched a new assistant called Gemini, and I'm actually playing around with that at the moment, and it's so intuitive when you ask it questions. It comes back with lots of information, or driving information, maps. You can do so much more than just your standard assistant. They're a lot more intuitive. So yeah, AI is playing a massive part.
Yeah, Ben's just dropped a comment. It reminds him of Kit from Knight Rider back in the day. I mean, you think, what was that, 70s, 80s? That was kind of out. So, I mean, I know that was only about 5 years ago. It certainly is in my mind. I'm not that old yet. But yeah, it's amazing that what Kit was kind of doing is actually now mainstream knowledge. How we do things on a daily basis. So that is really cool. That's really, really exciting. So Vegas itself, how accessible did you find Vegas for our intrepid travellers amongst our listeners?
There was a few things that I think are slightly different to the way that we do things over here. The people are extremely friendly. Not saying that people over here are not friendly, but the people the people there are extremely friendly. They're very helpful. And one example over here, the accessible restrooms over here, we have ladies, we have gents, and then we have the accessible toilets, which were usually in the middle, and they open outwards, nice and wide, nice and big, and we see them in shopping centres and service stations, etc. Out there, it's slightly different. So, and we found this out just when I was trying to find an accessible toilet where the door opens outwards. They don't actually have them on the next to the ladies and the gents. They actually have them separate inside the main toilet, which posed an obstacle for Caroline and I, and anybody that's actually going away with your partner. If I needed to use the restrooms, then I would either have to go in and I'd have to find the store, and they're all laid out differently depending on what building you're going into. So I found it kind of easier to, instead of trying to find an accessible toilet within the main toilets, is to just go and find the stall. Or Caroline had to either take me into the ladies, which was embarrassing, or she would have to come into the gents and find me the accessible toilet, which again was equally embarrassing. But one example, when we went in there, I was speaking to a lady at the info desk. She said, "I don't mind finding you a toilet," and she asked just a member of the public at CES, "We're looking to see whether an accessible toilet," and he just grabbed my arm and said, "Right, I'm taking you in," and he literally found me the toilet. So and I did know this guy from Adam, and he just helped me find where I needed to go, and then he kind of said, "I'll just wait outside for you," and he said, I'll show you the sink and the hand towels and everything like that. So it was brilliant to have that level of support. And obviously we went out there with some other friends as well, and obviously they're male friends, so I kind of got the support that way. If you are going out there with your wife or your girlfriend or something, then the toilets could be a little bit of an issue, especially in the older casinos. So
Yeah.
But everything else, no, I found it very accessible. When sort of getting food and how wide the pavements were. I never felt like I was going to whack someone with my cane. So it was all in all, it was a really good. The airport at Heathrow. I know this is a one pointer. If you are going on holiday with somebody and you feel because you're being guided by them, you don't need your white cane on show, it is handy to have your white cane visible, because a security guard just grabbed us and literally just ushered us straight to the front at Heathrow, where we actually got to the front of the queue and went through security. I think printing out boarding passes was a little bit of an issue. That wasn't very accessible, but again, there were people there that could help and assist.
Oh, so aside from the show, you know, because we're talking about Vegas, what was your favourite thing about Vegas other than the show?
The Fremont Street was pretty amazing. It was a tunnel, is the best way to describe it. And each section had its own live music, and a lot of it was kind of like rock music, which we love. But the ceiling and the sides were all screens. So 1 minute it will be the sky, the next minute it would be a fish tank. So it looked like you're walking underwater. So everything's lit up, and which is great for me because I still have that high contrast field of vision where I can kind of see things lit up in some respect. There was something also called Beer, which is a gigantic wall, and it's just made up of LEDs, and they kind of change the. It might have a planet on it. I think it had Jupiter on it one day, or it might have the planet Earth, or they might have things playing on it like sports results. And I found that going out there when I did, I could still appreciate a lot of the visuals.
That's
Not all
cool.
of it, not all of it. Some things that I had to get audio described, but some of the other things, like the water fountain outside the Bellagio when it's all lit up, I could still appreciate that. So it was nice to do that experience.
That's cool. So yeah, so Fremont Street is old Vegas. So you kind of got the old kind of golden coins, casinos, those kind of things. And as you say, the roof is dope. It's like arched, isn't it? And it's literally millions and millions and millions of LEDs. It's something very special. But they've also got Slotzilla down there, which I told you about before, which is the zip line that goes on and on, and it shoots you like 40 mile an hour head first. Did you go on it, Mark?
No, it was one
Oh,
thing
Mark.
I know. It was we saw people go down it, either strapped with it around their waist, and they're kind of sitting in it, or they went down head first like Superman. But the adrenaline stuff, as many people know that I'm actually keen to doing, will be perhaps if we ever do get to go to Vegas again, I will be doing that zip line, and also something that I thought was extremely crazy. The Hotel New York, New York has actually got a roller coaster that runs through it. It starts at reception and it literally goes through the hotel, around the hotel, out of the hotel, and then back in again. And when you're looking at this building, all of a sudden a roller coaster comes shooting out the side of it. It is something, unreal. So that will be definitely something that we will be partaking in next time we go. But hotel,
Yeah,
walking through the Bellagio, it took us 10 minutes to walk from the back to the front of the Bellagio. It's just, everything's just so big. And the food is amazing as well. You couldn't food, which we
but
had.
would you recommend Vegas to other people?
Oh, definitely. It is pricey. They love people that tip, which anyone that's been to America will know. They're very heavy on tipping. But the overall experience, we got to do a bit of shopping. We got to do the sightseeing. Ubers are absolutely brilliant out there. You ask for an Uber and you'll get one within 3 or 4 minutes. It's just a wild place, and anybody that wants to visit America is definitely a place to visit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So for those of you at home, we've still got a few more minutes. If you want to drop your questions in the Q&A section, please do. We can ask those of Mark. But just go back to some tech stuff then, Mark. So I know you mentioned about your Talking Tech group. What's your go-to bit of tech at the moment, mainstream for everybody to be making use of?
I think smart apps are very good at the moment, and the good thing about them is the majority of them are free. So anything that can help read your correspondence, your mail, any kind of information on packaging. So for iPhone users, so you've got Be My Eyes and Be My AI. You've got Seeing AI, which are some really good ones. For navigation, for the iPhone, and this is a tip that my brother shared with me yesterday, is one that's called Voice Vista, which I believe superseded something that's called Soundscape. So anyone that's up on their technology will know. And apparently that's a very, very good and accurate navigational tool with sort of location detection to tell you where you are. And again, that one's free. So then you've got sort of your Google Maps, which is good. You've got other navigational apps like Blind Square, which is another good one. And if anybody does have any new apps, then please do come along to our Talking Tech peer group and share this information with the group. You know, it's always great to find out new technology. So apps and smartphones, people tend to forget how intuitive smartphones actually are. You have them to make calls, do WhatsApp messaging, just to get hands-on with your smartphone, find out what accessibility capabilities they have. I found out with my Samsung S24 that it's actually got a color checker on it. And I just asked Bixby, I said, what color is this, Bixby? And she told me with precise accuracy what the color was. And I was blown away by it. So, you know, if people do have smartphones, you know, just get hands-on with them, play with them, look on YouTube to find out what you can do with your phone, you know, and means you don't have to go out and spend thousands of pounds on accessible technology when it's already in your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Great, Mark. Anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to tell us about?
Definitely check out any videos that are on YouTube around CES. It's literally just if you've got like the show or anything with a screen, or the Google Assistant with a screen display, ask Google, just ask it CES 2025 on YouTube, and you just check out some really cool technology. Also, Galaxy Unpacked 2025 if you are a Samsung user. There is some fantastic stuff coming our way. And one other piece of technology, and going back to AI before we wrap up, for those that use audio description to watch TV, I use this all the time. It's something that I'm gripped with. Sometimes doesn't read subtitles, and Samsung are using AI to intuitively pick up subtitles when they appear on the screen and read them out, so they can actually read at the moment up to 7 languages and then read it back in 7 languages. So if you are watching a foreign movie or a movie that is set in a foreign country and there is native subtitles in it that come up in English, we can't read them, but this will actually read them out to you in conjunction with existing audio guidance and you know, audio description. So
That's
again,
incredible.
technology is, even in our TVs, is becoming very, very impressive.
That's awesome. Technology is fantastic, isn't it? Obviously, especially when it works. Fortunately, it seems that Zoom has been working nicely for us this evening. So, Mark, thank you so much for telling us about your holiday and how awesome to kind of incorporate something which you're really passionate about with your tech and, you know, your holidays. That is fantastic. I mean, tech, you could say, it's moving on at such an incredible pace. So yeah, thank you. So that kind of does bring us to the conclusion of our webinar this evening. So Retina UK holds a webinar most months around a different range of topics. So coming up next month in February, we have a webinar about different ways that you can get involved with Retina UK throughout 2025. And in March, we're going to be talking about genetic testing, which is a really, really exciting topic and very timely for some of the work that's happening in the wider sector at the moment. We also do a monthly podcast, which you can find on our Spotify channel. So to ensure that you don't miss out on hearing about any of our upcoming webinars or podcasts, you can visit the events page on our website. You can sign up to our monthly newsletter or keep an eye out on our social media channels. So just remember that you can also stay connected with us through our peer support groups and some of our specialist groups like the Talking Tech group that Mark talked about. And again, you can find out information about these on our website and newsletters. So Retina UK, as you hopefully know, is a registered charity and we receive no government funding, and we do rely on all of our wonderful sponsors such as yourselves to help us raise the funds needed to provide our vital services and to invest in groundbreaking research. But some of you may or may not know that next month, so February, is RP Awareness Month. So we'll be doing lots of work, a campaign around that. So we'll share some more about our upcoming campaign. If you would like to donate to Retina UK now, you can do so through our website, which is www.retinauk.org.uk, or you can donate to us via text now. So you can donate £5 simply by texting RP5 to 70560, RP10, which is for £10, to again 70560, or £20 if you are able to do so. RP20 again to 70560. So text will cost your donation plus your standard network rate for that message. So thank you again for all of your support, and finally thank you again to Mark for sharing his experience, and again thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.